There is a world of constant evolution, where forces and tension drive ongoing transformation, both indiscernible and profound at once. Perpetual change is the only unshakable truth. A riot of geological forces has shaped the volcanic landscape and ancient sandstone walls of southwestern Utah. This evolution, fueled by frictional forces, is mirrored in the people who have inhabited this land for centuries. The ancestral people and earliest settlers carved a legacy as deep and abiding as these canyon walls. Seek the unknown, tread beyond the familiar. This call still resonates for modern-day explorers. Those who have been drawn to St. George, Utah, to glimpse new worlds, both external and internal, and be changed by what they find. They are here to face this raw, time-worn terrain, the fierce elements, and an athletic challenge unlike any other. They have come to venture farther out and hone closer in, to meet a singular challenge that will reveal new self-truths.
It's World Championships. It's like clean slate.
It's going to be a completely different race.
Total warfare and it's total mind games.
People get better and better every year.
The pressure is just so much higher.
It's all about the mental game. I'm not afraid of the competition. I'm not afraid of the hills.
The race is what matters, not the talking before, but what you do on race day.
Anything is possible on race day. Anything can happen.
You are going to go very far into the depths of your being. He or she who does that best will come out on top.
Explore, endure, embrace. This is the 2021 Intermountain Healthcare Ironman World Championship, presented by Utah Sports Commission.
It is May 7th, 2022, race morning in St. George, Utah. In addition to the 59 pros that will be taking on today's course, more than 2,800 age group athletes will race beside the professionals. They range in age from 18 to 79 and represent more than 80 countries. For professional and amateur triathletes alike, earning a qualifying spot to the Ironman World Championship is a life-defining achievement. It represents a fierce determination to endure and a relentless will to overcome. And over the years, the Ironman World Championship has become synonymous with one word: Kona. However, when the COVID-19 pandemic threatened the staging of the 2021 Ironman World Championship, after already forcing the cancellation of the 2020 event, race organizers decided to move the World Championship out of Hawaii for the first time in event history. But it had to be a place befitting a World Championship. Dubbed the land of endurance, St. George, Utah could also deliver on the promise of challenging terrain and elements with the notorious heat and wind.
What's waiting out there is, it will be war, and I think people will drop like flies.
It's just about racing the best on that day.
Leading the world-class women's field is defending Ironman world champion Annie Haug from Germany. It has been 2.5 years since her spectacular win in 2019. Four-time Ironman world champion Daniela Ryf of Switzerland is also looking to reclaim the top spot on the World Championship podium. A win here would bring her world title count to 10 between her Ironman and Ironman 70.3 victories. Heather Jackson, and Sky Munch are here to do battle not only for the podium, but for top American honors.
Heather Jackson, USA!
Jackson was third at the 2016 Ironman World Championship, and Munch is racing her very first Ironman World Championship. Also making their much anticipated debuts at this event are Great Britain's Katrina Matthews and Ruth Astle.
Best number, winning number.
On the men's side, Germany's Sebastian Kienle. The Ironman World Champion from 2014 is here, and you can never count out a world champ. Canadian Lionel Sanders finished the 2017 Ironman World Championship in second place, and perhaps no one is hungrier for the win. Pre-race chatter has also centered heavily around Denmark's Daniel Bekkegaard and American Sam Long, who both finished on the podium at the Ironman 70.3 World Championship held here in St. George last September. But perhaps no one has soaked up more of the race week spotlight than Norway's Christian Blumenfeld, the 2020 Olympic gold medalist in triathlon, and Gustav Iden, the two-time Ironman 70.3 world champion.
These guys are extremely talented, extremely hard workers, extremely gifted in their ability to train a lot. And then the final component to that is they're also extremely scientific with their intensities that they train at.
Everyone always wants to talk about the two Norwegians. I mean, of course, rightfully so, because they're so good and so talented, and I think the rest of us want some of the attention too.
I will be number one. Gustav here, Lionel here.
Is he training because he's afraid that I'm going to beat him, or is he training because he thinks that's the right thing to do? I'm not sure. Do you want to say something for the camera? No. He's in the zone now.
We've been able to take the Norwegian team from zero basically and up to now being maybe one of the strongest team out there. Like both myself and Gustav now going into St. George as two of the potential athletes to fight for the win, and also last year taking it all on the male side with the Olympics, the World Series and 70.3. Maybe people call it a little bit cocky, but we have a big belief in ourselves.
The Scandinavian countries as a whole, it's kind of, you can't speak too highly about yourself. But I'm from Bergen, which is a pretty special city in Norway. And we look at ourselves as our own country and our own people. And I think we are not afraid to speak loudly of ourselves and really be confident. And it's a reason why we have myself, Christian, Kaspar, and so many other good triathletes from Bergen.
I haven't always been a data geek. I used to believe that the rules within sports science didn't count for me, so I can always like push through, like I can go harder. And we do a lot of testing in the lab, like both swim, bike and run. Like we do 3 days in a row with very heavy testing, and that gives us a lot of data. And based on the data and our experience from racing, it makes it easier for us, I think, to kind of dial in the energy system to different races.
What we do really well is to put all the data into context, to try to use lactate, heart rate and power, and oxygen consumption and everything. And I think that's really, really hard, and that's where we are far ahead of others. We try to use each other to really perform and really beat the others as much as possible.
I think it will be a Norwegian winner standing on top. I just have to make sure that it's me.
It is every athlete's worst fear during race week. Gustav Iden has fallen ill and announces just hours before the race start that he will not compete in the World Championship. There will be a few other glaring absences in the pro field. a running injury has sidelined the defending Ironman world champion Jan Frodeno of Germany. Great Britain's Lucy Charles-Barclay, the 2021 Intermountain Healthcare Ironman 70.3 world champion, is also out due to injury.
Morning.
Still, with this depth of field, there is a palpable sense that these athletes are in store for a historic experience here in St. George. Who will prevail in the land of endurance? The journey of 140.6 miles is about to begin. The 2021 Intermountain Healthcare Ironman World Championship, presented by Utah Sports Commission, kicks off with a 2.4-mile Roca swim course in the cool, clear waters of Sand Hollow Reservoir. Christian Blumenfeld is looking to make history by becoming the first person to win Olympic gold and the Ironman world title within a 12-month span. But he will have to get past a tough field of much more experienced Ironman racers to make that dream a reality. As the pro men take to the start line in the pre-dawn light, a nervous anticipation hangs in the air. The start cannon fires, and the pro men hit the frigid water, looking to establish position among the strongest swimmers. An early front group led by New Zealand's Braden Curry forms, along with the first chase pack that includes Christian Blumenfeld and Lionel Sanders.
I saw Keenley, Sam Long, so I knew, okay, good, I got, a biking asset next to me. It was just a washing machine, and there was nowhere to go.
5 minutes after the men enter the water, the women are lined up for their own start. Lucy Charles-Barclay has led out of the water for the past 3 Ironman World Championships. Without her here, there will be a new swim dynamic. The fastest swimmer in the field, American Haley Chura, is ready to rise to the occasion. From the moment their feet hit the water, the pro women work to carve out a position and pace that will minimize the gap to Chura and other fast swimmers. Back in the men's race, Daniel Beckegaard is now leading at the halfway point of the swim. He knows he needs to exploit his elite swimming background to gain an advantage over the strongest cyclists in the field, the likes of Australia's Cameron Worth, Sam Long, and Lionel Sanders. As expected, Haley Chura is alone at the front as she makes her way through the second half of the Roca swim course. Fenella Langridge still leads the chase about 2 minutes back, and she is trailed closely by Swedish Olympian Lisa Norton. Daniela Reef is more than 3 minutes from the front.
I was pushing because I wanted to swim with the front group, and actually I was a little bit disappointed. The swim for me felt forever.
Daniel Beckegaard has led the majority of the swim, but it is Sam Laidlow who takes the first steps onto dry land. Right over his shoulder are Beckegaard, Kyle Smith, Braden Curry, and Florian Angert from Germany. It is a mad dash up the boat ramp and through transition, where in a frenzy wetsuits are peeled off, helmets are buckled, and bikes are pulled from their rack. It is time to tackle the 112-mile ride. Christian Blumenfeld exits the water just over 2 minutes down, while a large group that includes Sam Long, Lionel Sanders, and American Chris Leiferman is just 2.5 minutes behind him. The hunt is on. Haley Chura closes out the swim in a time of 50 minutes 28 seconds, more than 2 minutes ahead of Fenella Langridge and Lisa Norton. Daniela Reef is the fourth woman out of the water, 4 minutes behind Chura. Right there with Daniela is American Sky Monch, Annie Haug, the defending champion, and Great Britain's Katrina Matthews. And every woman knows Daniela Reef is dangerous in her mission to regain the crown. It has been a bumpy year for Reef, who has faced health issues and lackluster results.
It's very fair at the moment what everyone's saying, like maybe she won't feature it in the top 3 because of the last 18 months, but I also don't think you can count her out.
Heading out onto the bike course, Daniela Reef looks composed and in control, like she is exactly where she wants to be. The age group athletes are getting underway here at the 2021 Intermountain Healthcare Ironman World Championship, presented by Utah Sports Commission. For many of them, this experience is more than a race. It is a moving meditation, a chance to reflect on where they've been and where they're going. This day is an opportunity to challenge limits and change perceptions, to explore, endure, embrace. Like others racing today, 40-year-old Jonathan Kershane is here to prove that it is never too late to take control of your story. Today's race represents more than a personal goal. It is part of a mission to show his community, the Sagkeeng First Nation, that with hope and hard work, anything is possible.
Anin Boju, Nodin Dishnaka, Sagin Donji, Dode Makwa. My name is Wind, and I come from the place at the mouth of the river, and I'm of the Bear Clan. There was a point in time where First Nations people, it was against a lot of practice, our culture. I learned about my people as though we were not relevant, like we were extinct, like we were an animal being studied. Oftentimes I'd feel powerless, I'd feel insecure, afraid, angry. You know, my coping was maladaptive. Substance use over time became substance abuse, violence, to feel powerful, to feel important, to feel strong, to feel as though I'm somebody.
The first time I knew there was a problem, he was a teenager, and we had gotten a call that he was found outside, and had he not been found, he could have froze to death.
For my wellness and my recovery, my healing, that starts with my physical being. And times I've been in drug and rehabilitation centers, running was a big part of that. Feeling better and feeling good about myself. Going for a run, no music, just myself, and processing my emotions, feeling my body being activated, clearing my mind, and just connecting with the moment. Unconsciously, I started doing something about it. I hope to inspire and I hope to motivate students that I work with in the schools. I help them realize and see that they all have an Ironman within them. They have something deep down that they can rely on, that they can use for strength in times of difficulty and in times of stress. The event and the time I've spent training, I'm dedicating to the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls of my community, Sagkeeng First Nation. I can look at some of the things that my people have been through and some of the things that my people have done to bring us to where we are now. And it's my responsibility to stay on that path of healing.
There is a reason to feel hopeful. Look at my grandson, you know, what he's doing for, not for himself, for the people. There will come a day when not my grandchildren, but my great-grandchildren might not have to fight so hard to be proud of who they are.
Every moment can be a new beginning. We don't have to let the things of the past haunt your present.
New beginnings, Kumukahi, It is the theme of the 2021 Ironman World Championship, and it has found no greater champion than racer number 177, Jonathan Kershane. The professionals are charging through the early miles of the full gas bike course. After a short but hilly out and back section, the athletes will head towards St. George and the town of Gunlock, where they'll face a long, sustained climb before looping around for the 6-mile grind up Snow Canyon. This 112-mile course is relentless, with more than 7,300 feet of elevation. At the pointy end of the men's race, the top swimmers have formed an alliance of sorts. France's Sam Laidlow, Kiwis Kyle Smith and Braden Curry, Denmark's Daniel Bekkegaard, and Florian Angert of Germany are trying to hold off a hard-charging chase pack. Australian Cameron Worth is on the move as he overtakes Christian Blumenfeld, erasing a 2-minute deficit to the Norwegian. Among this chase group are some very heavy hitters. American Sam Long and Chris Leiferman are there.
I knew at that point that the race plan had to go out the window because the numbers that I was going to follow, I was way above them. But had I had back off, I would have lost everyone.
And just a little further back is Canadian Lionel Sanders. All are well positioned. But there is always a concern of going too hard, too soon. In the women's race, Lisa Norden of Sweden makes her way past Haley Chura to take over the lead. But the Olympic silver medalist has little time to enjoy being the front runner. First, Kat Matthews tracks her down. Then Daniela Ryf, the 4-time champion, goes by as well, as she takes over second place.
It was just for Daniela and myself, and it was like, right, cool, okay, let's, this is us, let's do it. And she said to me, she was like, let's do it together, like, come on. And I was just like, I guess I was a bit in awe.
Playing a little bit tactics with her and saying, hey, let's drop the other girls, let's ride hard.
Skye Moench won't let them get away entirely, as she also moves past Norden and into third. Moench came here to her Ironman World Championship debut with some big goals: a podium finish and top American woman. Heather Jackson, her closest competition in realizing those goals, already has a podium finish at an Ironman World Championship.
Well, Heather Jackson is America's sweetheart, and I know that. And I've known that for the last 5 years since I've been racing pro. But I've certainly been working really hard to knock her off that pedestal, so... Performance-wise, I think I'm the top, so I just have to keep showing that.
All right. Performance-wise, she thinks she's the top American, but I just beat her at Ironman Florida, so I think it's whoever shows up on the day proves himself on the race course.
Heather has always been, in my eyes, a very well-established, fan favorite professional triathlete. We'd be in a race together and everyone's cheering for Heather, 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 Heather. And I'm right by her and I don't get any cheers. So I was like, how many times do I have to beat this chick to prove that I'm just as good or better?
I come from a very hardworking blue-collar family, and I think being raised in that environment, you want something, you have to earn it. I think I was just born genetically with this very, very high competitive nature. I have 2 brothers and a sister, so the 4 of us had to win at game of tag. Being the first one to the dinner table, had to win at anything. That transcended into every sport that I've ever played in my life.
I think I've just always wanted to be really good at whatever I've done. Running was my first love. I did some local 5Ks with my sister and my dad, and I ran track with the school.
He has a slight upper hand right now in the swim, but I think bike and run were very comparable. In my mind, I know what I've accomplished, and if you laid out our results on paper, I've beaten Sky way more times than she's beaten me.
Heather has motivated me to become a better athlete because she was kind of the American standard for a while. If you want to be the best, you're going to do whatever it takes to be the best.
In Chattanooga in September, Sky broke 8:39 at Ironman Chattanooga. She holds the American record. It is something that definitely is in my mind. I'm like, I want to get that back.
I don't think I'll be wondering where Heather is during the race. I'm just going to assume she's going to be behind me, so.
The pro men are more than halfway through the 112-mile ride, heading toward the town of Gunlock. Here, they'll face a series of climbs that culminate with a steep switchback section. The 5 men making up the front group: Florian Ungert, Sam Laidlow, Kyle Smith, Braden Curry, and Daniel Beckegaard are taking turns pushing the pace, all with the shared interest of keeping the chase group at bay.
You have to work together as a group, getting a turn like every 5 to 10 minutes, just keeping the pace high but steady.
Christian Blumenfeld is sitting in that first chase pack, trying to be patient while staying in striking distance.
There is 5 guys up front. I'm feeling quite bad back here. Hopefully they will suffer too. It's a brutal run course, and I still have a shot for a podium.
By the time the women reach the Gunlock switchback, Daniela Reef has opened a nearly 2-minute gap on Katrina Matthews.
Since that gap then opened and it was each to our own and she was pushing more and I was like, nah, I'm gonna go alone now.
And Reef has opened a nearly 4-minute advantage over Lisa Norden. Sky Monch has dropped back into 4th. The defending Ironman world champion Annie Haug is sitting in 5th, now 7.5 minutes from the front.
I always convince myself, oh, maybe it's a good thing that you're on your own, then you don't overpace in the beginning, because I would have killed myself if I tried to stay with Daniela or Kat.
Also on her own farther back in the field is Renee Kiley of Australia. Any observer of Kiley's former life would be astounded to see her riding in the top 10 as a professional at the Ironman World Championship. But at 39, Kiley is only getting warmed up.
I was a business owner running a successful company. I was 104 kilos or 230 pounds and smoking a packet of cigarettes a day at the age of 29. For 5 or 6 years, I was working 7 days a week, easily 60, 70 hours a week. And when you're looking at yourself every day in the mirror, you don't really notice it happening. And then next minute, 5 or 10 years has gone by. So 2013, some friends of mine had moved from Melbourne up to the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. We went to this triathlon, never heard of triathlon before, never seen a triathlon before. And I remember standing there thinking, gosh, how am I going to sneak away for a cigarette in this environment? Because everyone's like so healthy. I really remember like thinking, gosh, I don't feel like I'm being judged or looked at. Like everyone is just so caught up in what they're doing and so happy with what they're doing that I don't feel like I'm being judged. It just lit a fire in me. I actually went home straight after that and signed up immediately.
Come on!
If someone had come up and said to me, in a few years' time, you're going to be a professional, full-time athlete in a sport you've never heard of, and then a few years after that, you're actually going to be on the start line at the World Championships as a professional, as one of the best 40 women in the world. Like, that's just crazy. You're never too old, and you know it's never too late. And there could be hundreds of me out there that like have no idea how much better their life could be. Yeah. We get complacent and so content. You have to have something that you are truly passionate about. And if you don't have that, then you need to go and find it. Keep your mind open and follow your heart, and you never know how that can change your life.
And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? We choose to do things not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.
As the men close in on mile 100 of the ride, the front group of 5 is still intact, with Florian Angert leading the charge. They are bracing for what's to come. Snow Canyon. Soaring Navajo sandstone cliffs shaped by wind, water, and flowing lava define this ancient landscape.
No matter what, it's hard, and it will take a lot out of your legs. You can lose the race if you go too hard on that climb.
Here, the athletes will face an unrelenting 6-mile climb. This is where the race, especially at the front, can break up. Lionel Sanders, Worf, and Christian Blumenfeld are together as they tackle the climb up Snow Canyon. This trio, now united at a pivotal moment of the race, poses the biggest threat to the leaders. As the pro women enter Snow Canyon, Daniela Ryf remains alone at the front with a 3.5-minute lead over Katrina Matthews. Lisa Norden is hanging on in third, but Annie Haug and American Jocelyn McCauley have caught and overtaken Skye Moench. The wind and temperature have kicked up as the women grind their way up Snow Canyon. At the top, they will catch their breath during a fast descent back to town where the marathon run awaits. After a 4-hour, 16-minute ride, New Zealand's Kyle Smith is the first to hit transition, shadowed closely by Sam Laidlow, Florian Angert, Braden Curry, and Daniel Bekkegaard. After some quick preparation for the run, all 5 are out onto the marathon course with only 25 seconds separating first from 5th. Worf, Sanders, and Blumenfeld are just 4 minutes back. The Hoka 26.2-mile run has only just begun. In contrast to the men's race, leader Daniela Ryf is all alone. She will start the marathon with a 7-minute advantage over her closest challenger. Katrina Matthews is second off the bike. It may be her first time racing at the Ironman World Championship, but so far she looks like a veteran. 2.5 minutes after Matthews, Lisa Norden arrives in third position, now 9.5 minutes down from Ryf. In fourth, 15 minutes down, the defending champion Annie Haug, one of the best Ironman runners ever. Now she becomes the hunter. After her remarkable rise through the age group ranks, Australian Renee Kiley has worked her way up to 10th place just behind Heather Jackson. This race is already a testament to how far she's come in her journey to prove that anything is possible. Age group athlete Jonathan Kershane is also on a mission to help others through his own example. He is here to show the next generation of his First Nations community that the resolve and resilience of an Ironman athlete live in them too.
The pursuit of excellence may look different for everyone, but the demands are the same. Dedication, hard work, and striving for greater health. It's something we understand at Intermountain Healthcare because we share your...
With temperatures hovering around 90 degrees on the exposed and challenging 26.2-mile Hoka Run course, there is nowhere to hide. Braden Curry, the 2021 Ironman New Zealand champion, has broken away from the front group of 5. He's made his intent clear. He's going for the win. But Christian Blumenfeld, the Olympic gold medalist, is picking off the top 5 one after another. He overtakes Florian Ungert and then Sam Laidlow. Only Curry remains in front. The other big mover is Lionel Sanders. While he has also been overtaken by Blumenfeld, he is still advancing through the field. But no one is moving with as much forceful momentum as Blumenfeld. With about 9 miles to go, he reels in Braden Curry. Within a few strides, it is clear that Curry can't answer Blumenfeld's surge, and the Norwegian storms to the lead. In the pro women's race, Daniela Ryf continues her solo charge at the front. At the halfway mark of the run, her lead over second place Katrina Matthews has grown to 10 minutes. But Annie Haug is closing in. She has overtaken Lisa Norden and Skye Moch for third place. And the gap to Matthews is just over 2 minutes. The battle for the podium is heating up in the men's race. At mile 17, Sanders makes the pass on Sam Laidlow for third. His next target is Curry, just 4 minutes up the road. Curry's pace is starting to slow, setting the 2 men on the path for a showdown for second.
All right, he can hear you!
With no one to match his blistering run pace, Blumenfeld can soak up the final meters before the finish line.
World champion, Christian Blumenfeld!
A 2-hour, 38-minute marathon has sealed his status as the world's best today. He has just made history as the first person to win both Olympic gold and the Ironman world title in the same year. Meanwhile, the race for second is drawing to a dramatic close.
Look at this, everybody! Lionel Sanders running them down!
In the final meters, Lionel Sanders strikes.
Another classic Lionel Sanders finish!
Sanders once again finishes second at the Ironman World Championship. Curry, who led this race for much of the day, crosses in third. Next across the line is Chris Leiferman, an incredible marathon performance, advancing him from 10th to 4th. Florian Ungert takes 5th place. Norwegian Christian Blumenfeld's 7-hour, 49-minute performance has earned him the Ironman world title. And beside him, Canadian Lionel Sanders celebrates his runner-up finish, just ahead of New Zealand's Braden Curry. As Daniela Ryf rounds the last turn toward the finish line, she can finally revel in being back on top.
Here she comes! champion Daniela Reed!
This win brings her Ironman world title count to 5. Next to the line is a triumphant Katrina Matthews. An exceptional performance at her very first Ironman World Championship. And with a race best marathon of 2 hours, 56 minutes, Annie Haug takes 3rd place. In her debut at the World Championship, Skye Moch is the top American woman as she finishes 4th. And Great Britain's Ruth Astley, another Ironman World Championship rookie, claims 5th. Heather Jackson crosses the finish line in 11th, today the 2nd American woman. A 14th place finish for Renee Kiley among the professional women is reason to celebrate.
She is your 2021 Intermountain Healthcare Ironman World Champion, Daniela Reed!
With her dominant 8-hour, 35-minute race time, Daniela Reed retakes the top spot on the Ironman World Championship podium, joined by Katrina Matthews of Great Britain and Germany's Annie Haug. With the pro race now decided, the stage belongs to the age groupers. It is their turn to dig deep and discover what this finish line means. This is the moment they've been fighting for, and for many, there's still a long fight ahead. The 2021 Intermountain Healthcare Ironman World Championship, presented by Utah Sports Commission, is brought to you by Gatorade Endurance, formulated for farther. Hyperice, recover like a pro. Active, powering the world's events and activities. Full Gas, less virtual, more reality. As the sun sets over St. George, the athletes must summon every ounce of energy and motivation to keep moving forward. Each has faced and overcome countless challenges to make it this far. But the battle to the finish line rages on. Time is of the essence. Each athlete must finish the race by the 17-hour cutoff in order to be called an Ironman. Jonathan Kershane is driven by a deep desire to inspire and honor his Saging First Nations community. He runs with a headband that memorializes the missing and murdered Indigenous women. The miles are long, but he carries on, one step at a time. And now, after the long road to get here, every finisher is rewarded with a feeling unlike any other. Pride, disbelief, triumph, awe. It is the collective realization that we are more than we could have dared to imagine. And with this knowledge, the future looks different. It is full of potential, alive with possibility. A new, beginning.
You are an Ironman!